This program on investing under regulation crowdfunding is not investment advice.
Rising with the crowd, power unbound, change makers lead where hope is found. Superpowers for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Super Crow stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Welcome to the Superpowers for Good show from the Super Crowd. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and I am so excited today to introduce you to an extraordinary entrepreneur that, her story will inspire you and hook you. And she's also raising capital from the crowd. We'll talk more about that. But our guest today is Alice Crisci. She's the CEO and founder of Ovum Health. Alice, welcome to the show.
Devin, thank you so much. It's always such a treat to get to spend time with you.
Well, the treat is all ours. Thank you so much for making the time for us. You've got such a story, and I think we ought to kind of start with your story. If you don't mind getting a little personal,
Not at
we'll
all.
come back. We're going to talk about the business, and we're going to talk about your crowdfund offering. But maybe we could start with your story. Your story is kind of a sweet story, challenging story.
It's one of triumph. And 17 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer at a very young age. And subsequent to that, I endured 9 pregnancy losses and 5 rounds of IVF to have my one miracle son. And it really called me forth to make a difference in this field. I started in legislative advocacy work, co-authoring bills across the country, modernizing a lot of family law. Didn't realize how much needed to be modernized. And that really parlayed into me becoming a digital health founder in the field of reproductive medicine. So I definitely am incredibly grateful for the science and tech that I was able to access. And I feel absolutely my mission in life is to make sure that anyone who wants to have a healthy family can do so without breaking the bank and in the healthiest way possible.
And really, the business that you've created really does this. It really moves the needle on people being able to do this. And you're doing it in a way that's covered by insurance.
Yeah.
It's affordable for the insurance companies, and it works for the patients. Tell us, what on earth, how are you doing all of these things so well?
Oh, thank you for saying that. You know, I spent 15 solid years learning the medical field from the inside out, from all levels, regulatory processes, hospital systems, and you name it. And we really are in a maternal health crisis in the United States. We're not the only country in that crisis. Really, global fertility numbers are declining and chronic illness is increasing. And the same conditions that lead to adverse pregnancy outcomes also cause infertility. And those conditions are not just treatable, they're reversible. We are not diagnosing young people fast enough. We are not doing diet and lifestyle modification in the regular healthcare system to help them even understand the connection between some of these health conditions and the family that they're trying to have. We are diagnosing on average 4 conditions that weren't previously diagnosed and restoring health. So if you can imagine the joy that people feel when they feel better than they ever had in their life, and then they suddenly have the hope again, wait, I actually do believe that I'm going to get to become a mom.
Yeah, it is really kind of amazing to think about the difference you're making here. Give us some examples of some of these health conditions that you're able to help diagnose. I want to understand, how are you diagnosing? How are you treating them? Because it seems to me a lot of this work is being done remotely. I don't understand. Help us understand the magic of Ovum Health.
No, the magic of the pandemic. Let's be honest. You know, the pandemic was actually helpful for a couple of things, devastating for a lot of things. But it really triggered the onset of telemedicine and a lot of at-home collection kits. And we are clinically based, meaning we are both a precision medicine platform and also the clinical care team. So what we do first is a diagnostic. It's molecular in nature. We send our patients a genetic test kit. We send them to a lab for lab work. We might look at toxicology. We look at virology. We're looking at DNA methylation levels in men's semen analysis. So we're going down to a root cause level that isn't being routinely done in the healthcare system today. That then gives us all the inputs that we need. On top of that, we're looking at social determinants of health. So we want to understand predictability around risk based on where you live, based on your access to food, based on your access to clean water. And all those inputs together, we have proprietary algorithms, of course, for advanced analytics that then allow us to do a very precise, personalized treatment program. Now, remember, in life, 30% of our health is genetic and 70% is diet and lifestyle. There are a lot of conditions like insulin resistance, polycystic ovary syndrome, which is a metabolic disorder, hypertension, high cholesterol, anemia, vitamin D deficiency, a lot of these things that are directly tied to maternal outcomes and fertility outcomes. You might have a genetic predisposition to that condition, but once you learn that you have more influence over whether or not you develop that condition, to me, that's a very empowering next step for our patients. And it's not just a medicine that we give them. It's not just a pharmaceutical. Sometimes they need short-term medical intervention. That is that. It is custom supplementation. It is diet. It is lifestyle. It is sleep. It is stress management. It is drinking more water. It is all the things that you wish somebody was helping you with every day. And we deliver a lot of these micro changes through a 24/7 accessible app so that we're not asking someone, hey, here's a list of 40 things we want you to change. That would be very overwhelming. We do it in incremental steps so that there is a groundswell of progress and improvement. Some of the changes we see are cycle length for a woman that goes from 71 long days where she's not ovulating every single month down to 52 days and she's ovulating every month. We see hypertension being reversed, vitamin D levels being restored. We see cholesterol levels going down, all from the changes that our patient population is willing to make so that they can have a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby.
Now, it seems to me that hypertension is a problem for some people who aren't in the baby making mode, or
True.
even those that don't have things like ovaries and uteri.
Yes.
Right? Hypertension and
Yes.
some of these other things that you're talking about
Yeah.
are problems. Is there a broader application potentially for Ovum Health tools?
Sure. Today we do treat men and women. We do treat both the couple, and we do have a perimenopause and menopause/menopause approach as well. So everything that we do to help people have a healthy family is completely applicable. We are a startup, and so we have to stay focused on attracting repeatable patient population that gets us the proof that we need to prove to the insurance companies who reimburse us in a fee-for-service business model that they should actually reimburse us in a fee for outcome business model. Once we have success in a very distinct population, then we really can move upstream. We can move downstream, meaning we could even help those who are just coming of age and dealing with puberty to make sure that they live a long, healthy life, where sometimes their hormonal changes have an epigenetic impact on what genes get expressed, and suddenly they gain a lot of weight, don't really know why. Teenagers tend to not eat the best. We can help them understand that. And then, of course, as we progress and support people through all the stages of life, that's completely possible. And that is what we want to see that we grow into actually at Ovum Health, is that we are with everyone from preconception all the way through the later stages of life.
Well, I mean, the potential here is almost infinite, isn't it?
Well, it is, and that's really due to the size of the problem too. 40 million people have chronic illness just in the reproductive age population, and it's about 60% of all Americans now that have chronic illness. That has to reverse. Some of that is direct toxicity, and some of that is us just educating on what products people should swap out and stop using in their home. We always discourage people from microwaving foods in plastic. As a for instance, we discourage certain types of water bottles. We advocate for certain types of water filters. So some of those real actionable changes anyone can make. They might not be able to make it in this moment today, but they can plan to make it. And they know that when they make that change, it has a direct impact on their hormonal balance, on their DNA methylation levels, on even how they think, how they sleep, how hydrated they can stay, because their body isn't going to be in overdrive trying to detoxify from those toxins that they're welcoming into their world.
Yeah. It's really cool. Let's talk for just a minute about your Start Engine campaign. You're raising capital on Start Engine. Tell us a little bit about how people can find the offering.
Sure.
And why you're raising from the crowd.
What I love about the Reg CF is that it gives the same people who might become a patient in our practice the opportunity to own stock in the practice, in the company. And I love that. You can do it in the public markets. Everybody can own Apple stock. So why can't we own private stock too? There's such capital restraints out there in the venture capital world. And a lot of times the price of that capital is incredibly restrictive for people to have a fast growth opportunity. So we love giving friends, family, colleagues, accredited and not accredited investors the opportunity to buy direct stock. We love for them to have skin in the game. And it's a very easy process. I love it about that too. One thing that people don't realize is how intense the compliance process is when you get accepted to actually do a Reg CF. It is far more difficult than any kind of investment that an accredited venture capital fund or even angel fund has put me through in the past when I've been fundraising. So I always feel that as an organization, I feel like we mature through the process. We have compliance checks and an approach to regulatory, to disclosures, to understanding risk, to legal, to really making sure everything is so compliant that it feels that we are really prepared for the maturation process that we're going through as we grow as an organization.
Well, this is really a cool stage of the process that you're in. And I love what you're doing, and certainly, want to reiterate, I want to see you succeed. Let me just highlight for you that on the screen right now, we're sharing a short link that people can use along with a QR code. If you scan the QR code or type in s4g.biz/ovum, that'll take you directly to the Start Engine campaign where Alice is raising. So I invite you all to check it out. Listen, we're going to take a quick break here, but I want you to stick around, because when we come back, we're going to talk to Alice about her superpower, and I assure you, you don't want to miss this.
Download a free copy of How to Make Money with Impact Crowdfunding, the book Sarah Hanks describes as
a fantastic overview, not just of crowdfunding investing, but of investing in general.
Andrew Savickas raved,
"This book offers unparalleled insights for anyone looking to make a difference."
Scan the QR code to get your copy.
Ready to take your small business to the next level? Honeycomb Credit empowers diverse entrepreneurs by connecting you with community-driven funding. Build customer relationships, amplify your brand, and grow with those who believe in you. Honeycomb Credit, where your community invests in you.
Scan the QR code to start today.
Join the Impact Crowdfunding movement. Get Superpowers for Good, your free daily newsletter with exclusive video replays, a podcast, and the latest investment opportunities open to everyone. Join the super crowd. Scan now so you can learn to make money while you make a difference.
Welcome back, everyone. Having such a fun conversation today. We've got with with us Alice Crisci, who is the CEO and founder of Ovum Health. Just fascinating entrepreneur. But listen, we're going to shift gears now and talk to her about her superpowers. So stick around. You don't want to miss this. You know, we first connected, God, I think it was 7 or 8 years ago. It's been a minute.
Long time ago.
You know, you have really made some remarkable progress along
Thank you.
a really inspiring trajectory toward great success. And I celebrate that with you.
Thank you.
What is your superpower?
Well, when you frame the last 7 years like that, I actually think that the superpower in the last 7 years is different than sort of the overarching superpower, because I think that the never give up, the stick to itness that I have in life, the commitment, and it's unwavering that no matter what gets thrown my way, I will march forward. And, you know, that was evident in cancer. That was evident in becoming a solo parent, you know, through IVF. And that is evident with having to deal with a lot of curveballs in business over the last 7, 8 years. And it has not been easy. I think that something that led me here that's a superpower is seeing opportunity where others don't. I think I have this, my magic is kind of what I always say is seeing white space. And where, you know, everyone might see all these different things kind of around them, the problem, the this and the that, and like, you know, and maybe even feel a little bit overwhelmed. And I just have this laser focus of like, okay, I see an opportunity over there. We're going to connect and we can move forward. Or I see this opportunity for someone else. And I have a high ideation kind of to me where, you know, endless ideas, but really applicable to somebody else when they're trying to figure out what's next, or where are they not, you know, hitting the ground running with their marketing plan, or what's next for their growth. I don't know what it is about that, but it's this ability to see opportunity where others just don't connect the dots sometimes. I think that that's probably it. But I would say in entrepreneurship, you just can't give up. The companies that close, they just give up.
You're so true. I mean, that's the definition of entrepreneurship, right? You're done when you say you're done.
That's right. And you can reinvent yourself, right? You can reinvent yourself.
Distinction. You know, when you have a job working for someone else, they have the option to end that relationship. Right. When you work for yourself as an entrepreneur, you decide when you're done.
Yeah, that's right.
Very, very different.
What's your superpower?
About these two superpowers, I want to talk to you about both, but we really don't have time to focus on one. So let's talk about this ability to see opportunity. It's such an intriguing thing, especially when you have this ability to help others kind of see their opportunities as well. Can you think of a specific story that would illustrate that? Is there a time you can think of?
I probably can. I do recall this funny moment where a friend of mine said, you know, the unique thing about you is that you execute when you see the opportunities. You actually go for it. And I think that that's quite true. You know, I'm a data nerd. I love analyzing data. And sometimes when you're analyzing the data, it tells you a story because you start seeing patterns. And I love putting those patterns into forms of pictures. And that happened actually with our company because I had all these users in the Fertility Answers app, which, as you recall from our last conversation, it's a free app on iOS. It's a small, tiny charge in Android, and it's unlimited access to live and automated medical support for anyone. Well, there is a lot of anonymized health data that is made available in that to me from our user base. And when I looked at all of that data, it started telling a story that was very, very different than the story that the media had portrayed that I had bought into for literally over a decade about reproductive health. And the headline of that story was, women are delaying childbirth so long, that's the cause of infertility. And if I hear one more person, you know, blame the declining fertility rates and declining population on women waiting too long to have their babies, I'm going to lose my, you know what? It is so frustrating because that's not it at all. And in fact, when I looked at all the data and then that's what really like helped me see this opportunity of, wait a minute, we're telling lies out there. And I call it fertility math. And I'm writing a book by the same name, Devin. So I'll let you know when I'm done with that book. And it's kind of about lies and myths that they tell us about reproductive health. And it prevents access because people don't take the 22-year-old couple anymore seriously about the fact that they've already been struggling to have their family for 2 years and they got married as teenagers. That still happens. And in fact, in a lot of parts of America, people are much, much younger, getting married, having their families, trying to have their families at a much younger age than the way that everybody portrays. And so seeing that kind of unlocked this aha moment for me of, wait a minute, we have to go solve this problem. We have to be the ones that kind of honors wherever anybody is and make sure that they can get all the diagnostic tools they need, whether they live in the middle of Alabama in a remote location, or Idaho like me in a remote location, or they're in a city like San Francisco. And so I think maybe that's not the best example, but that was an example of how sometimes when I'm looking at data, it like sparks something where I'm like, wait a minute, there's something here that needs to happen, and we need to be the ones to actually serve it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and it illustrates that capability quite well. Now, all of us would like to be able to do that better, right? Now, we all recognize that we may not be able to achieve Alice Crisci level game on this skill, but nonetheless, we'd like to be able to see those opportunities better and connect those dots. How can you help us learn to do that a little bit better?
Wow, that is a tough question. Well, the first thing that I would say, though, is honor the superpowers that you do have and lean into them. Don't ever apologize for being fantastic at something and being unique at that. On the part with opportunity, sometimes I walk even my team through certain exercises. One is a really incredible problem-solving exercise that I formulated after reading a book, and you're going to kill me because I'm going to forget the name of the book. It was written by a former admiral. So a retired admiral wrote this book, and it starts with understanding cause and effect of the problem you're trying to solve. And the reason I love that so much is that so many arguments are based on the fact that people aren't even agreeing on the problem that they're solving. And if you are looking at it as a cause and effect, so there's a cause of something that is the driver of this effect, and you start orienting everyone's language around defining a problem that way, it's a really fast way to then start seeing opportunities. And it's fascinating how many different causes and effects people will come up with when they used to be talking about a symptom, or they used to be talking only about an effect. And if you fail at that, then you're solving for an effect rather than solving for the actual problem. And we do that in healthcare all the time. How many times has somebody medicated a symptom and not actually looked at the cause of the symptom? It happens constantly. And I think that's our patients' biggest frustration, and why they're coming to us is that we don't do that. We're going to get to the root cause, and we're going to solve for the cause, which is then going to create a new outcome. So I'd say that would be my recommendation on how they could implement this to start seeing opportunity, is actually to start solving for the right nature of the problem in the first place.
I love it. Great tip. Great tip. Now, as we wrap up, Alice, I think we need to turn our attention briefly here to just, connecting some of the dots we've scattered around this conversation. People love and admire you. They want to connect. We don't want to know how to follow you on social media. You've talked about your apps. So tell us how to get the apps. You've talked about the crowdfunding campaign on Start Engine. Point people to that again. Let's make sure that all of these things come together. People know how to follow up with you. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that I'll start with is how to get a book a free consult with us. So if you are someone who is seeking to either clean up your health before trying to have a baby, or you're at that critical stage where you're actively trying and not getting there, go to learn.ovumhealth.com. We offer free nursing consults to everyone who wants to know what we're up to. That's the first thing. always consider downloading the Fertility Answers app on both iOS or Google Play. And if you want to follow me, linkedin.com/in/Alice Crisci. I believe I might be the only Alice Crisci actually on LinkedIn. I happen to have a rare name, so I'm not hard to find. Ovum, of course, is on all social media platforms itself. And we also have a Facebook group if you just want to dip your toes into the conversation and connect with some others. We have an Ovum Health family Facebook group to help others as well.
Fantastic.
And the Start Engine campaign, of course. On the Start Engine site, which you can just scan that QR code or visit Start Engine, and we're at offerings/Ovum Health.
Fantastic. Well, again, Alice, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We want to wish you every success with the offering and the business.
Thank you, Devin. I can't wait to keep you updated.
All righty. Now let's do some good.